This is a Flying Cow production.
Well, hello, and welcome back to Movie Battles, where we take the very best in Disney Pixar movie trivia and we put them head to head here on the Flying Cow. And today we have a very important match, but I'm not calling it alone. No, I have here with me today sensational Sorsha Masters. How are we doing today, Sorsha?
I'm good. It's nice to be calling a match with you again.
Right? I know. I feel like, it's been a while since you've been here at all. And then I think the last time you were here, unfortunately, you had to call it with the hammer. So I'm sorry about that.
That was an experience.
Yeah. Yeah. But you're back. You're here. And tonight, as I was saying before, we have quite the match, because we have not just any match, folks. No, we have a number one contender match, and quite an interesting number one contender match, because these two players are no strangers to each other. No, we have Mr. VHS, Nazario Montenegro, and MadDog, Brian Nussbaum. And you might be thinking, I feel like these two have played each other before. And you would be right, because they actually debuted against one another. In fact, Brian handed Nazario his very first loss. It was a very close match. But here they are now, this time vying for a number one contendership. And Nazario gets the opportunity to either, avenge that loss, or will Brian prove that he's got Nazario's number? We will just have to see. But I gotta say, it's interesting, because aside from the fact that Brian has a win over Nazario, they have the exact same record.
They do.
It's 3 wins, 2 defeats, and 1 knockout, both of them. So this is a very evenly matched confrontation that we have here today. And I am very excited to get this underway.
I am too. It's going to be interesting to see how this pans out. And it's a throwback to their first match, because I think I called that one with you too.
I think I would not be surprised. So here we are in a very familiar setup, but completely different implications. So what do you say we go ahead and bring in today's competitors?
Let's do it.
All right. Introducing first, representing your local video store with a record of 3 wins, 2 defeats, and 1 knockout. He is a member of the 2021 Elimination Gauntlet Final 5. He is coming soon to home video. He is Mr. VHS, Nazario Montenegro. How are we doing, Nazario?
I mean, Brian is so afraid of me that he tried to take out my kidney. But he couldn't do it. And I'm here.
Do it. Lesser men have tried. And he just could not do it. But I got to say, Nazario, here you are in, as we said, very familiar surroundings, taking on Brian in a match, a very important match, much like your debut, but this time it is for the number one contendership. How are you feeling about your chances here today?
I came prepared to do one thing, and one thing only, and that is to make Blockbuster great again.
All right.
If we have to do that through trivia, then we'll do it through trivia.
All right. All right. Well, at least he has an agenda. He has a platform, folks. All right. So what do you say we go ahead and bring in today's opponent?
Let's do it.
All right. And his opponent, representing the Mad Dogs with a record of 3 wins, 2 defeats, and 1 knockout. He is also a member of the 2021 Elimination Gauntlet Final 5. He is MadDog Brian Nussbaum. Brian, how are we doing?
Pretty good. Great to be back in the ring here, and let's see what happens. Could deja vu happen again, or will anything can happen on rebattles?
Absolutely, absolutely. So I got to ask you, Brian. Like you said, this is your second match with Nazario. Did you alter your training at all preparing for Nazario, or was it same old, same old?
Same old, same old. Just coming here, knowing the knowledge I know, and whoever comes up, know it is.
All right. Sounds good to me. So let's go ahead and bring Nazario back in here. All right. So we have both of our competitors ready to play. So let's go ahead and get things started with the reading of the rules for round number 1. In round number 1, 8 questions from random categories will be given to all competitors. Competitors will have 15 seconds to write down their answers. Answers must be spoken aloud when revealing their response. All questions in this round are worth 1 point. If either competitor gets all 8 questions correct, they will have a perfect round and receive a 1 point bonus question. Competitors also have 3 repeats that they can use at any time throughout the match. So if you just need a little bit more time or you want to hear a question again, use your repeats. Competitors also have a challenge. If at any point they disagree with the ruling of a question, they can challenge. If their challenge is upheld, then they will keep their challenge. There is no stealing in this round. All right, competitors, are you ready?
Let's do this.
All right. Sorsha, are you ready?
I am. Let's do it.
All right. Well, then I don't know about you guys, but I feel ready for a movie battle. Action begin. And we are going to start in round number 1 with question number 1 in the category of early classics and classics. These are the films of mostly the 30s through the 50s. And your question. In the film, Peter Pan refers to Captain Hook by what insult?
Oh, Peter Pan.
Peter Pan, yes. An age-old story retold by Disney and several other people as well.
So many other people.
There are so many different versions of Peter Pan. It's kind of hard to keep straight what you heard from which.
Right?
In 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. All right, and we are starting with Nazario.
It's a little tricky for me because I watched this movie in Spanish, so I just did the translation and hope for the best. It said codfish.
Codfish is correct. Good translating. All right, so Brian, what do we have?
Okay, is it called fish or called fish?
It is a codfish. Very good. So both competitors are currently tied going into question number 2.
Alrighty. Question number 2 is in the category of Renaissance, mostly films of the 90s. You can find the voice talents of David Ogden Stiers, Linda Hunt, and Christian Bale in what Renaissance era film? This one was on a VHS being played constantly in my house.
Yeah. This was around the time that I decided that I was too old to constantly watch Disney movies.
Wow.
I mean, it didn't last long, I'll tell you that.
Obviously, it didn't last very long.
No, but yeah, definitely was an interesting point in my childhood. In 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
All right, Brian, we are going to start with you.
Pocahontas.
Pocahontas is correct. And Nazario?
Pocahontas.
Pocahontas is correct. We're staying tied at 2 points apiece. Going into question number 3.
All right. So in question number 3, the category is the dark times. These are the films of the 2000s. And your question. In Brother Bear, the characters Rut and Took are what type of animal? I can tell you a story about the last question that I couldn't tell you before because it would have given something away. But I actually had a fight with my sister because the day we went to go see Pocahontas, I wanted to go see instead Casper. I don't know which one of us was more wrong. In 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. All right, and we are starting now with Nazario.
I don't know the plural for this, but they're moose.
That is the plural, actually. All right, and Brian.
Voiced by Baba Dog. Moose.
That is
So then
correct.
what's the singular?
Moose. There is a singular moose and then many moose. All right, so moving on now to the fourth question, still tied at 3.
All right. Fourth question is in the category of Pixar. In Cars, what is the name of Lightning's sponsor that he initially wants to distance himself from?
Lightning McQueen. I gotta tell you, both of these competitors still perfect in the first 3 questions. I'm starting to wonder if either one of them is going to blink. Something tells me it's not going to be this question, though. We'll
I
just
don't
have to
think
see.
so.
All right, in 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1.
All right, Brian, we are going to start with you.
Rusties.
Rusty's is correct. And Nazario?
Rusties.
Rusty's is correct.
Very-
Staying tied.
Very nice. Keeping it tied up at 4. Going into the next category. In the category of hybrid and Muppets. These are the films, obviously, the live action animation combinations and Muppets. And your question. In Mary Poppins, what are the names of the 2 Banks children? We need just their first names, obviously. I gave you their last names, so. That'd be interesting if they're like, oh, the Banks kids. We need a little bit more than that.
More specific.
I think both of these competitors are better than that. I wouldn't expect that from them, though. In 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. All right, and Nazario.
I really don't know. Is it John and Mary?
That is incorrect. And Brian.
Jane and Michael Banks.
Jane and Michael Banks is correct. I think it's funny. Nazario got the
initials.
letters right, but actually for the wrong sibling. So he flipped them. All right.
Okay.
All right, so Brian currently takes a 1-point lead going into the next question.
All right, next question is in the category of the decline and wilderness. These are all films from the 60s all the way up to the 80s. In the Jungle Book, what is the name of the young elephant who befriends Mowgli?
Getting some deep cut characters. This is a #1 contender match, though, so you gotta expect some twists and turns, some difficult things coming up. We will just have to see how well our competitors know the Jungle Book in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Oh, that's... Brian, we're going to start with you.
I had no clue, so I put Healthy Jr.
That technically is correct.
Oh, wow.
And
I didn't do that. I just put Colonel Hatti's son.
he goes by Junior, but technically that means he would be Hathi Jr.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah. All right. So that puts Brian up by 2 going into the next category. The next question, the category is package film.
Of course it is.
Short collections of the 40s. And your question. In which package film will you find the short Blame It on the Samba? The package films. Everyone loves the package films.
They love them so much.
I gotta say, as a question writer, I actually do, because there are so many things that you can ask questions about in those. I mean, in round 1, try not to get too meticulous in there, but you know, in rounds 2 and 3, there's so many things that can be asked about. In 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. All right, and we are starting with Nazario.
Melody time.
Melody time is correct. And Brian.
Supposed to do with Amigos.
All right, so Nazario closes the gap a little bit, comes up within 1 of Brian, currently 5 to 6, going into the final question in this round.
All right. Question number 8 is in the category of CG Revolution. These are the movies from the 2010s to the present. In Big Hero 6, what is the name of the laser specialist voiced by Damon Wayans Jr.? I love this movie. With all of my heart.
Yeah, I gotta say, this is one that I didn't even know came out.
Same.
It really just kind of snuck out there, and I, watched it later on and was like, how did I not know about this movie? It's great.
Everybody was focused on Moana at the time.
Well, lots of different things going on. So in 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1.
All right, Brian, we're going to start with you.
Wasabi.
Wasabi is correct. And Nazario?
Wasabi.
Wasabi is
Wasabi.
correct.
All right. So that means that at the end of round number 1, Brian maintains a 1-point lead, 7 to 6, going into round number 2. So let us go ahead and bring up the rules for round number 2. All right, in round number 2, also known as the wheel round, each competitor will spin the wheel up to 2 times. If you do not like your first spin, you can choose to spin again, unless, of course, you land on opponent's choice, in which case you're stuck with it. Competitors will get 4 questions in that category. Questions in this round are worth 2 points. Multiple choice is available. However, if you use it, the value of the point will drop to 1. Competitors will have 15 seconds to answer each question. Opponents may steal if a competitor gives an incorrect response. Repeats and challenges are still in effect. All right. So we are going to be going, like I said, into round number 2. But right now, Brian has a choice to make. He gets to choose whether he would like to spin first or if he would like to defer to Nazario.
I would defer.
All right, so Brian is going to defer to Nazario. So we're going to go ahead and bring up the wheel for Nazario. Nazario, can you see the wheel?
Yes.
All right, then Nazario, this spin is yours. And you have landed on the category of mixed bag. So would you like to keep that or would you like to spin again?
Spinning.
All right, so Nazario spinning away from mixed bag, looking for something a little bit more favorable. And it looks like the wheel is stuck for a second. Let's see. There it goes. Looking to see if we can get something a little more favorable. And we have landed on CG Revolution. So as a reminder, these are the films of the 2010s to the present. All right, and Nazario, you're going to get 4 questions in this category, and I will be reading these questions for you. All right. We're going to start with the first question in the category of CG Revolution. In the Wreck-It Ralph films, what is the name of the lead character in Hero's Duty and Felix's eventual love interest?
Multiple choice.
Multiple choice it is. And your options there. Is it A, Lieutenant Jennings, B, Sergeant Calhoun, C, Corporal Waters, or D, Major Cunningham?
B.
B, Sergeant Calhoun is correct for 1 point. All right. That ties Nazario with Brian. Going into the second question. What prolific television actor plays the role of Chief Benja in Raya and the Last Dragon?
Multiple choice.
All right. Multiple choice it is. And your options there. Is it A, B.D. Wong, B, Randall Park, C, Ken Jeong, or D, Daniel Day Kim?
Daniel Day Kim.
Daniel Day Kim is correct for 1 point. All right, Nazario taking a 1 point lead there. Going into the penultimate question in this round. In Winnie the Pooh, what ruthless creature do Pooh and his friends believe has abducted Christopher Robin?
The Baxton. We're all afraid of the Baxton.
The Baxton is correct for 2 points. All right, now going into your final question in this category. The setting for Moana is most closely related to which U.S. state?
Hawaii.
Hawaii is correct for another 2 points. So at the end of that round, Nazario currently has a 5-point lead, 12-7. Of course, Brian has yet to spin, so we will have to see what comes up there. So let's go ahead and bring up the wheel for Brian. Brian, can you see the wheel?
Yes, I can.
All right, then, Brian, this spin is yours. All right, Brian, obviously looking for one of his strengths, but it's not CG Revolution. He gets another spin here. Looking to see if he can get... Ooh, it has landed on Package Films. Brian, would you like to keep this or would you like to spin again?
Let's spin that again.
All right. So one last spin for Brian, looking for something a little stronger. And he has landed on, I think, exactly what he wanted. And that is actors. So Brian has landed on actors. He's going to get 4 questions in the category of actors. As a reminder, this category used to be voice actors. However, we are now, because of the hybrid films and Muppets films, there are also live action actors in this as well. So it is just actors. And Sorsha is going to be asking these questions to you, Brian.
All righty. Your first question in the category of actors. What Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory actor provided the voice of Hunter Amos Slade in The Fox and the Hound?
Grandpa Joe himself, Jack Albertson.
Jack Albertson is correct for 2 points. All right, question number 2. In The Muppets, who plays Gary's longtime girlfriend, Mary?
Amy Adams.
Amy Adams is correct for 2 points.
And that brings Brian within 1 point of Nazario.
All right, question number 3, your penultimate question. In his final acting performance, what Pixar character did screen legend Paul Newman lend his voice to?
Doc Hudson.
Doc Hudson is correct for 2 points. And your final question in the category of actors. What Oscar-winning actor provided the voice of Mr. Centipede in James and the Giant Peach?
Richard Dreyfuss.
Richard Dreyfuss is correct for 2 points.
And Brian not only takes the lead by 3 points, 15-12, but also becomes the first player to apparently have any idea what James and the Giant Peach is. So we are going to be going into the third round with Brian having a 3-point lead. So let's go ahead and bring up the rules for round number 3. In round number 3, competitors will choose 3 numbers from 1 to 20 that correspond to 3 random categories. Each competitor will get 3 questions. Questions are worth 2, 3, and 5 points respectively. Competitors will have 15 seconds to answer each question. There is no stealing or multiple choice in this round. Repeats and challenges are still in effect. All right. So as I said, Brian is currently leading by 3 points going into this third and final round. So Brian, you get to choose your 3 numbers first. What sounds good?
10, 18, and 4.
10, 18, and 4. All right. And Nazario, what 3 numbers would you like?
1,
1. Okay.
2,
2. Gotcha.
and 6.
1, 2, and 6. Throwing a curveball there. Either that or Nazario forgot how to count. Who knows?
Yes.
But with that, like I said, Brian is currently leading by 3 points, which means that in order to push this back to Brian and avoid the TKO, that Nazario will need to answer his 2 and either his 3 or his 5. All right. So, Nazario, we are going to start with you. In the category, you chose number 1, and that relates to the category of mixed bag. All right. And your question. In what film will you find characters such as Sparky, Victor Frankenstein, and Mr. Verskrusky?
Frankenweenie.
Frankenweenie is correct for 2 points. All right. So Nazario has brought it down to a 1-point game, currently 14-15. He just needs this 3-point question to push it off to Brian to have to answer some questions. Nazario, your 3-point question, you chose category number 2. That relates to the category of John and Alan. And your question. What is the name of John Ratzenberger's maitre d' character in Ratatouille?
Let's go with Jacques.
Jacques is incorrect. We were looking for Mustafa. Mustafa.
Of course.
Yeah. All right. So we are now down to your 5-point question. Okay. Like I said, you get this correct, you will still force Brian to answer some questions. You get it wrong, however, Brian will win by TKO. All right. You have chosen number 6. That relates to the category of actors. And your question. What actor, known mostly for comedic roles, provided the voice of King Triton in The Little Mermaid?
Change.
In 5, 4, 3,
Repeat.
2. All right, that was your first one. You still have 2 more. Category of actors. What actor, known mostly for comedic roles, provided the voice of King Triton in The Little Mermaid?
See, I think his name is James, but I'm not sure, and I don't remember the last name.
In 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
James Wilson.
And your winner by TKO and the new #1 contender, MadDog, Brian Nussbaum. We were looking for Kenneth Mars. Kenneth Mars.
I was way off.
All right. Well, tough match, guys, from on both sides, but great match all the same. Well, wow. I mean, it came down to, once again, Brian seems to have Nazario's number. I mean, in their last match, Nazario was actually leading the majority of the match, and it just came down to a 2-pointer he didn't know.
Mhm.
And unfortunately, this time, he just kind of had stumbles throughout. That Brian was just a little bit faster, a little bit. I mean, he was never, dominating. Obviously, he won by TKO, but he was just a little bit ahead of Nazario, just enough. And today that proved to be enough. But let us go ahead and get right into post interviews, and I will be handling those. So I'll see you in a second. All right. And here we have Nazario, who unfortunately just ended up on the wrong end of this match. Like I said, Nazario, not a bad match from you at all. Just you were a little bit down the whole match. And it proved to be enough to hand the victory to Brian. But how are you feeling about your performance today?
It's all right. It's, the small things usually. Like if I ride Hattie Jr. instead of Colonel Hattie's son, we are tied after one. You don't know what happens after that.
Yeah.
Maybe he doesn't get his damn strength.
Yeah. I mean, that definitely helped in round 2 that he got his strength on the wheel,
And for some reason, like the actors and the character names are the things that keep popping up for me. Because if you see what I went on MC in round 2 is Sergeant Calhoun's. It was a character name that is not very famous. Yeah. And I knew it was either BD Wong or Daniel Day Kim. But I figured you would give me one of those. You put both in them. So I had to take my chance. Luckily, I got it. And then I lose on a character name and an actor.
Yeah. Sorry.
Ask me about the package film. I love the package film.
I know when package films came up on the wheel for Brian, I'm like, I know what Nazario wishes you do. Yeah, I mean, sometimes it's just the luck of the draw. You get the ones that you haven't thought about, or that aren't present in your mind right now. And sometimes that's all it takes to give the other competitor just enough of an edge. But I mean, I gotta say, Nazario, you've done very well, in this recent run. And I think that we've got a lot more to see from you this season. So I'm excited to see what's coming up next for you. But unfortunately, at this moment, it is the end of this path.
I will come back with a healthier kidney.
All right, sounds good. And here we have today's winner, MadDog Brian Nussbaum. Brian, how are you feeling after that match?
I'm feeling pretty good. The last 2 matches I was in, I was 0-2, and with this match I came back from, and only missing one question in that package film category.
Yeah, you had a pretty good showing today. As you said, the package films were a weakness, but they're a weakness for a lot of people, so that's nothing to hang your head about. With this win, not only did you snap, as you said, a 2-game losing streak, but that has now handed you a number 1 contendership. So you will be taking on, in a title match, Madam Kelly Meehan in a 5-round match, which you haven't done with us before. So how are you feeling, number 1, about the possibilities of playing a 5-round match? And also, how are you feeling about playing Kelly for the championship?
It's really Okay, I never done one of those before. Be new for me, and facing once again Kelly, who eliminated me from the tournament, and let's see what happens this time.
Yeah. I mean, I will say that I believe in your last match, you are one of, I think, maybe two people that has taken Kelly to her 3. So, I mean, it's a 5-round match, so anything can happen. We will just have to see. But I am certainly excited to see how that match turns out. And excited to see what your chances are in, possibly claiming that championship. I will say it's not a huge deal, but you are actually the first guy to compete for the
I believe
Movie Battles
so.
championship.
And
Like
mostly
I
been
said,
women.
it's not groundbreaking in any way, shape, or form, but it is an interesting thing to note. Congratulations and good luck in your title match, Brian.
Okay then.
All right. All right. So there you have it. We have our new number 1 contender, MadDog Brian Nussbaum, who will be taking on Madam Kelly Meehan. This is not the first time that they will be facing off. This is actually another rematch for Brian. But Kelly, a much different competitor than Nazario. So we will just have to see how Brian does in a 5-round match with a competitor in Kelly who not only has not lost, but and I don't know how she'll feel about me saying this, but in her she has not missed a question since she started playing 5-round matches.
Yeah.
So all you can say to that is good luck. And we will see what happens. But I've got to say, this was a fun match to watch today. I got to say thanks to everyone for watching. We've got a lot more stuff coming up. Obviously, we've got the championship match. We've got some other matches coming up. So in order to see it, you got to stay here. You got to stay watching. And as always, moo.
Moo.